The Wrong Bride, The Right Heart. Previous episodes are available on playlist, a link is given in the video description. Episode 11. Chapter 118. Eva, I hit the elevator button for the 4th floor with the biggest smile on my face. I knew without a doubt that my life was about to get a whole lot sweeter. From the moment I laid eyes on Jamie Sinclair, I knew he would be mine. I just knew it deep down, but of course he didn't do relationships or some shit. I had to become perfect for him. I learned about everything he liked and even found the type of girls he was into. Eventually he dropped me just like the rest of them, but I wouldn't let him go that easily. That's where Jacques Torres comes into the picture. Oh God, it was almost like he fell right into my lap at the perfect time. Jacques was traveling abroad and was in the process of closing a deal with the company I was interning at. He made millions overnight and I just knew he was the perfect man to take Jamie's place for the time being. I started our little affair just to make Jamie jealous, but after the restraining order was put in place, I had to go all in. But there was just one problem: Jacques was married. I decided to fix that little problem with a few anonymous emails showing Jacques' wife the type of things he had been getting into while he was away, and once she found out about the baby, she divorced him. It took some work, but I eventually got her to give up, and that pretty much sealed the deal. The only problem is the baby wasn't Jacques. Luckily my son looks just like me, so there was no real suspicion until a few years down the road and he shoved those divorce papers along with a DNA test in my face. I think he suspected all along though, considering he resented Sammy because that boy was the only reason Jacques married me to begin with. So it's not like he was a father to the kid really. Sammy was raised by nannies since the moment I had him, and thank God for that. I hate kids. Since I was younger I knew that I never even wanted kids, but I realized it was the only way to secure my future. I'm just not the motherly type, neither was my own mom, and I would use this pregnancy to get ahead like she used me. That's why when I learned more about Gabriella I realized she and I weren't that much different. My mother just secured her position and took everything she could from my father. Hers, well, we know what happened to hers. Then after getting pregnant, I realized it was the worst experience of my life, and I even gained 10 pounds from the whole ordeal. I had to practically starve myself to keep in shape. Now that Jacques has filed for divorce, I took Sammy and went back to the US. After hearing about what happened to Cecilia, I knew it was the right time. I had been keeping tabs on Jamie since the moment I left. My friend Kimberly told me all the latest gossip, and that's where Cecilia came in. I decided to befriend her when Kimberly informed me that Cecilia would be visiting Europe soon for Fashion Week. Obviously she had no clue who I was at the time, but she opened up to me like a book and we became fast friends. She told me everything about the contract with Robert and the type of stuff she would be required to do. How she was expected to produce an heir in the first year, and that's when I started to think maybe my son would be useful after all. I had already planted the seed years before. Jacques had caught me sleeping with his business partner and froze my accounts. I figured I could contact Robert Sinclair, tell him all about the child I had and try and get some money out of it, but of course, he was less naive than I thought. Cecilia said he was obsessed with the idea of having grandchildren, so I thought he would jump at the chance, but no, he had to ask for a DNA test. But the problem is I didn't know who the father of my son was. It could have been 3 guys: Jamie, Jacques, and some guy I had a one-night stand with during that time. But obviously Jacques was out, so it's a 50% chance the kid is Jamie's. That was still too risky for me. I would lose everything if I left Jacques and the baby turned out not to be Jamie's son. So instead of risking it at the time, I decided to take the easy route and fix things with Jacques. He ended up forgiving me after I did a lot of convincing but I was sorry and we went on with our lives. So I put Jamie on the back burner until now. I walked towards my apartment door before putting the key in and opening it up. As soon as I stepped into the apartment, I saw all the lights and TV were turned on as I let out a frustrated groan. Sammy! Maria! That little shit, I told her not to let him do that. I grumbled, knowing this kid was already on my last nerve. Sammy, I told you to stop turning all the lights on when I'm gone. I shouted, searching through the small space as I saw something move from the corner of my eye. Are you really that scared of the dark? I grumbled, switching the lamp off as I came closer to where he was hiding. He had made some type of makeshift fort out of a blanket and pillows. Someone was yelling outside. I'm sorry Eva, I got scared. His small voice sputtered out as I couldn't help but sigh in annoyance. You are almost 6 years old, Sammy. Aren't you getting a little too old to still be afraid of the dark? And where did Maria go? I thought she was staying with you until I got home. I asked, hating having to put up with this kid as I ripped the blanket off of his head. She said she had to go, that you were late and wouldn't answer the phone. He cowered below me. We had been in this apartment for 3 weeks now and Maria was the older woman next door. I would pay her a couple $100 a week to keep an eye on Sammy when I had to go out. It's either that or leave the kid alone. Well, next time just go into your room and lock the door. I snapped before turning on my heel and walking to the kitchen. I can't wait to get this kid out of my hair. Go wash up and get ready for bed or whatever shit you need to do. I called out, placing my purse and the grocery bag I was carrying on the table. I took out the wine bottle I planned on drinking and went to get a glass. Might as well start now. Eva, tomorrow you said that I would get to meet my real daddy, right? Sammy suddenly spoke up, making my head turn towards him as a big smile filled my face. I slid the bottle back on the counter before turning and walking towards Sammy. My face filled with a bright smile as I crouched down to his level, making him stiffen. Yes, Sammy. And remember what I said, if you are a good boy then that means I don't have to get rid of you, okay? But if you screw this up, I won't, I promise Mom. Eva, I won't. He rushed out and I patted the top of his head before standing. Good boy, now go to bed. I stated, hoping to God this all works. These last 3 weeks have been absolutely brutal and the luxury of a nanny sounds pretty good right now. I grabbed the wine and popped it open, deciding just to drink straight out of the bottle as a wicked smirk filled my face. Jamie Sinclair, you have no idea what coming and I can't wait. Tilly, I stared intently at the phone, holding it firmly in my grasp before biting down on my bottom lip nervously, my finger hovering over the add contact button as I swear I must have memorized Ryland's number by heart already. Today has honestly been one of the most exciting days of my life and I couldn't believe all of that really happened. The moment I saw Ryland sitting there, I felt that usual pull like always. I swear not a single thing had changed about him. Well, from what I could remember about him at least. He had no clue who I was, but I honestly didn't even care. I was 6 years younger than him and not to mention shy, so I didn't really expect him to recognize me in the slightest. I had been just a kid. So when he asked me to pretend to be his girlfriend, I didn't know what to do or say, and that's when I realized my head was nodding up and down all on its own. Now I'm lying here in bed debating on whether I should text the guy or not. I mean, he said he would call me, but was that all a part of the show he was putting on? Suddenly I heard a knock on the door, making my eyes widen as I quickly slid the phone beneath my pillow before trying to act normal. "Come in," I squeaked, feeling like I didn't know where to put my hands, so I quickly tucked them behind my head. "Are you still up, Mija? It's almost 12 o'clock. My mom said, obviously seeing my light was on. "I was just going to bed, Mama. How was work?" I asked, noticing my mom was still in her uniform as she nodded before walking over to me. "Fine. Did you work another double, Tilly? You know I don't like you doing that," my mom scolded, her hand reaching out as she brushed my dark hair to the side. My mom hated the fact that I had to work full-time. She always feels bad and wishes I could have gone to college like my sister Shayna did. But Dad was still working at that time, so they could afford it. "Just the morning shift and half the afternoon," I explained, making her tisk before shaking her head in disapproval. "You work too hard," she whispered while her hand gently stroked my hair. Suddenly I felt her climb into the bed with me, wrapping her arms around my small frame before hugging me tight. "How did I get blessed with such an angel like you?" she asked, making me chuckle. "Why are you being so nice? You're making me suspicious," I teased before pulling back and studying her carefully. "Oh come on, can't I love on my beautiful daughter?" she asked before kissing my head and making me pull away with laughter. Mom joined in too before we both calmed down and just lay there staring up at the ceiling. "Promise me you will always stay like this no matter what? That you never let the hard things in life bring you down, Mija?" my mom said, causing my brow to furrow as something about her seemed off tonight. "Mama, what is it? Is Papa okay?" "Yes, of course he is fine. I just wanted to spend some time with you, that's all. I missed my little sorpresa," my mom explained before looking at me sadly. "I missed you too, Mama," I whispered, hugging her again before she sighed and went to stand. "Okay, I'm going to bed. Now don't stay up too late, Mija. Your father has his appointment tomorrow, don't forget," she added before looking at me one last time and said good night. Sometimes I wondered if it would always be the three of us living here for the rest of our lives. Shayna left home after she turned 18 and I didn't see her much until she moved back in 6 years later. Then our dad had his accident when I was 16 and we all pretty much tried to survive until Shayna met Eddie a few years later. So it has been Mom, Dad, and me for a couple of years now, but truthfully I didn't really see Shayna much, so it felt like it was only the three of us for longer than that. Shayna would go out a lot and had a couple of boyfriends throughout the years that she moved in with, but always seemed to come back home. I never understood exactly why Shayna got so much freedom while I couldn't even go out to a friend's house to sleep over. Mom has always been strict about what I'm doing and who I'm doing it with. And when I got older, my parents drilled into me that I shouldn't date unless I planned to marry that man and vice versa. I know it's an old-fashioned way of thinking, but my mother would beg me to follow those rules. She would cry and say she never wanted to see me hurt or be taken advantage of. But on the other hand, Shayna would go through multiple boyfriends in 1 year, so I never understood. I just steered clear of every boy I would come across. I think my shy and quiet personality was enough to turn them off in the end. I just don't know how to react when someone approaches me. My brain stops working and my chest becomes tight and I overthink every little word they say and don't know how to respond. So yeah, that doesn't exactly help either. I heard my mom speaking down the hallway when all the lights were eventually turned off, letting me know my parents had gone to bed. That's when I pulled my phone out and checked it one last time. What I wasn't prepared to see was a text on the screen waiting for me. From 1-234, 567-8910, thanks for helping me out earlier, you were a real lifesaver. Did you get home safe? Then there was another after that. From 1-234, 567-8910, oh, this is Rylan by the way. Rylan Walters. From earlier at the restaurant. I couldn't help but smile as my stomach flipped uncontrollably. He texted me and he was so cute about it too. I quickly added Rylan's number to my contacts and started to send him a text back. To Rylan, I did get home safe, thank you and no problem. Oh God, was my response too simple? Will he stop texting after that now? I let out a groan, my hand slapping over my face as I felt like I could throw up with how nerve-wracking this was. Then I felt the phone vibrate. From Rylan, can I call you? My eyes widened in shock, my body shooting up into a sitting position as I stared down at the phone, surprised. He wants to call me. I glanced towards the door that my mom had left open and quickly tiptoed over, shutting it. Then I walked back to the bed and slid beneath the covers. To Rylan, sure, if you like. Not even 2 seconds after I sent that, I started to get a call. I took a deep breath before answering the phone quickly, and placed it against my ear. Hi. I squeaked, feeling embarrassed already. Hey, I hope I didn't wake you earlier. I just realized how late it is. Rylan's deep voice washed over me, making my body tingle all over as I felt my heart start to race. No, you didn't, I just got home a little bit ago. I see, well, I just wanted to say thank you for earlier. I hope you don't think I'm some type of creep or something. He stated, making me stifle a laugh as I turned over in bed. No, of course not. I take it that woman was some type of ex or something. I asked, regretting it the moment I said it. Should I be bringing up exes? Is that too personal? Yeah, but it was a long time ago. So you don't have to worry, I mean, not like you would. What reason do you have to worry? Rylan said before bursting into awkward laughter as I felt the biggest smile pull on my lips. Was he just as nervous as I was? Oh God, I don't know why I'm acting like this. He grumbled. It's okay, I think it's cute. I whispered, surprising myself with that one as I shut my eyes tight. You do? He asked, making me swallow hard as my mouth suddenly became dry. Yeah, you make me laugh. You seem like you're a really funny guy. I said, trying to move on to something else. I am pretty funny, you should hear my Elmo impression. He said, making me chuckle. You have an Elmo impression? No. But I thought saying that would make you laugh. He confessed, and I couldn't help but laugh even more. So you weren't weirded out about earlier? He asked out of the blue, making me bite my lip. No. I was just glad I could help. I breathed, feeling this weird tension over the phone as we both sat in silence. "Tilly, do you have a boyfriend?" Rylan asked, causing my eyes to widen. "No," I rushed out, making Rylan chuckle. "Me neither. Well, I mean I don't have a girlfriend either obviously. But oh god, you are going to think I'm crazy," Rylan suddenly said. I could feel my heart leap into my throat as I couldn't even imagine what he was going to say next. "Okay, what I'm about to ask you is kind of crazy," he began as I held my breath anxiously. "You can obviously say no to this, but can you come to dinner at my parent pretending to be my girlfriend?" he blurted, making me blink my eyes in confusion as I tried to process his words. "Pretend to be your girlfriend?" I repeat. "Yes, just like at the restaurant," he replied, making me try to process this. I thought he might try to ask me out for real. "I know this seems crazy, but my mom has been trying to hook me up with a whole bunch of women that I have no interest in, and I thought if I said I had a girlfriend she would get off my back, but now she just wants to meet her. I mean, I can pay you," he rambled, the last part making me stiffen. "Pay me? Oh god, not like that. I mean, just pay you for your time. Of course we wouldn't be doing anything scandalous, we would just have to make it convincing. I sound like a real jackass right now, don't I?" He trailed off, leaving me speechless. "Listen, I didn't mean to throw this on you. It would just be one dinner, and that's it. I don't expect anything out of it. I just wanted to get my mom off of my back. So I'm sorry if this offended you," he whispered, making my stomach drop. "So that's why he called, because he needed my help again. I can pay you for your time since the dinner is tomorrow evening. I wasn't sure if you would be working or not," he went on, and I still couldn't speak. I was afraid that if I did, he would hear how disappointed I was. "The dinner is at 5 tomorrow. I can pick you up beforehand and we can go over everything. I promise, Tilly, there will be nothing weird about this, okay? I won't pressure you into doing anything, and after this, I will leave you alone. Just think about it. Let me know tomorrow, okay?" And with that, he hung up, leaving me lying there in confusion as I tried to understand what just happened. "Rylan," I tapped my finger on my steering wheel anxiously, my stomach twisting into knots as I couldn't help but glance down at the phone for the 100th time on this drive. He didn't say a word. I really did. How stupid can I be? Seriously. I couldn't help but replay that conversation over and over in my mind and cringe from how desperate I sounded. Not to mention the dozens of texts I sent that she hasn't even replied to. I couldn't get the girl out of my head, but I didn't want to freak her out. I thought I could play this cool and get her to hang out with me, thinking maybe we could get to know one another better. But now she probably has a restraining order against me or something. I was on my way to my parents' house. It was 4:45 and I was holding out hope that Tilly would change her mind, but it doesn't seem that way. Suddenly my phone began to ring, making me panic as I quickly answered it. "Hello." I rushed out, hoping to God it was her. "Hey, you almost to Mom and Dad's? I don't want to get there first," Jolie said, making me sigh. "Oh, it's you," I grumbled, prompting a scoff to leave my sister. "Well, it's nice to hear from you too, geez. Sorry, yet I'm on my way. Did you ask Alder to come with?" I asked her, knowing she was thinking about just bringing him, even though Mom insisted on her coming alone. He had to fly back to Washington last minute. He said the trial for his dad got moved up. She explained, sounding nervous about it. I thought he already got charged. Alder has been very upfront and honest about all the stuff with his family. It just makes you like the guy even more with how truthful he has been about everything. It's easy to trust him, that's for sure. This is for the appeal. But I told Mom that if she tries to pull something, I'm leaving. Jolie grumbled, making me sigh. Yet if Madison ends up being invited, I will officially lose it, Jolie. I'm going to snap for real this time, I said, making Jolie laugh. Well, what happened to your date? Jolie asked curiously, making me frown. I don't want to talk about it, I mumbled, feeling depressed again. Suddenly I heard the phone beep, signaling I had another call. Oh, I bet that's Mom calling now. I will see you when I get there. Don't drink all of the wine without me, I said, making Jolie give me a sarcastic laugh as I quickly hung up and switched the call over. Hey, I will be there if 10. I said, while making a left turn. Oh I wasn't sure if you saw my text. A soft voice spoke, making my eyes widen as I almost swerved the car into a telephone pole. Tilly. I rushed out, wondering if I was hearing things. Yeah, I'm sorry about not responding earlier. I had to take my dad to the doctor's and I forgot my phone on the charger. She confessed sheepishly, making relief flood through me. It's not too late to come, right? I mean, if you still want me to. She whispered the last part, causing my stomach to do a somersault. No. I mean yes, I still want you to come. I can pick you up right now. I rushed out, glancing around for a place to pull over. Well, do you think I can just meet you there? She asked me nervously. Oh yeah, of course. I didn't care how she got there, I was just relieved she was coming. What do you think I should wear? She spoke up again, the way her sweet voice practically reached my soul caused a smile to pull at my lips. I'm sure you would look beautiful in anything. But my mom usually goes over the top, so maybe a dress. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, I added at the end, hoping I wasn't asking too much. Okay, I think I can find something. Just send me over the address and I will be there soon, she said as I couldn't wipe this stupid grin off of my face. I couldn't wait to see her. Oh, and Rylan, you don't have to pay me, okay? She said shyly, making my heart leap into my throat. Okay, sorry about that call last night, I don't think I worded things right. It's okay, I will see you in a little bit. Bye, Rylan. And with that she hung up. I swear I had never been so happy in my life. I let out a loud cheer, my hands gripping the steering wheel as I felt like I had just won $1 million. She has to be some type of angel, I swear, I muttered to myself and drove the rest of the way to my mom, picking up some flowers on the way. I pulled up to the front gate, checking in with the security guard and informing him of Tilly's upcoming arrival as he let me in. My mom and dad lived in a high-end gated community where celebrities and politicians usually resided. This wasn't the neighborhood I grew up in, and frankly, I'm glad because ever since moving here, I swear mom goes way overboard trying to fit in with the rest of the people here. I followed the road down, seeing my parents' house coming up on the left as I pulled into their driveway. The large grey house was completely lit up, making me think this was a lot more than just a family dinner, and that's when I saw 3 cars parked in the driveway, one of them being Jolie's. Great! I mumbled, seeing Jolie waiting outside of her car as she glanced towards me anxiously. I could see the stress written all over her face. She walked up to my car, watching me park as she quickly ripped open the door. This is a total setup, Ree. I knew it. I swear that is Mateo's car. She rushed out, prompting me to glance over at the Mercedes. Do you want to leave? We don't have to do this, Jolie. I said, almost hoping she says yes, that way I can just take Tilly out on a real date. No, I'm done with this shit, Ree. I am shutting it down tonight. And if mom doesn't listen to me, then well, I'm cutting her off. I nodded in agreement, getting out of my car as I stepped up to Jolie before giving her a hug. Jolie and I were always close, obviously, since we are twins, but I have her back no matter what, even I'm getting annoyed off for her. Which is rare for me, I don't usually get mad. Well, I guess it's a good thing your date isn't showing this drama, might have scared her away. Jolie said, making me stiffen. Actually, she said she can come after all. That's who was calling earlier. I explained sheepishly, wondering if this really was a good idea now. Oh well, hey, if she sticks around that just means she is a keeper, right? Jolie added, making me laugh dryly. I didn't exactly tell Jolie about the whole fake girlfriend thing, I was too embarrassed. Okay. I just said I met a girl that I really liked and wanted to bring her. It wasn't exactly a lie because I do like her a lot. Just as I was going to respond, another car pulled up, making my heart leap into my throat as I felt like time slowed. I walked over, going to open the door as all the air was knocked out of me. Tilly stepped out of the car. Her hair was up in a bun and she had on the most beautiful deep red dress I had ever seen, maybe just because it was on her. The dress had long sleeves and went up to her neck, but the way it clung to her body, it was breathtaking. I hope I'm not late, she whispered, making me shake my head no, as I couldn't help but stare into those beautiful blue and green eyes. She has to be one of a kind, there is no one in the world like her, I swear. Wait, I think I know you, you're Matilda, right? Matilda Martinez. Jolie suddenly chimed in, breaking me from my trance as I glanced between them curiously. Did Jolie know her? And her name was Matilda? Oh God, why does that make her even more adorable? Yes, it's nice to see you again, Tilly suddenly said with a shy smile, her tan cheeks turning a beautiful shade of pink. Rylan, you didn't tell me that your date was Matilda, Jolie said, narrowing her eyes at me. Well, I didn't know, I hadn't met her before, I said sheepishly, not wanting to seem rude. I would remember if I met this girl, how could I forget those eyes? Yes you do, her mom used to be my ballet instructor, at the academy, Jolie said before walking over to Tilly and looping her arm through hers. I haven't seen you in years. How have you been? How is your mom doing? Jolie began, dragging my date towards the house as I stared after her. I racked my brain, trying hard to remember this girl as what Jolie said suddenly hit me. I did remember her. That shy little girl who was always hiding in the shadows, she would be at every recital. Obviously she was just a small kid, so I never thought twice about it at the time, but suddenly I felt my lips pulling up into a big smile. She was such a beautiful girl even then. Then the idea crossed my mind, maybe this was fate. With the way I was feeling right now, I felt deep down that it had to be. I can't screw this up. I ran up to them, taking Tilly's hand now as I felt her tense for a moment. I watched as her chest rose and fell deeply as I leaned in closer to her. "Is this okay?" I asked, making her swallow hard before nodding as I could tell she was nervous now. That's when Jolie glanced over at us and smiled. "Well, I'm sure Mom is going to be surprised, but just a warning, tonight might get a little crazy." "Jolie, I was not looking forward to this, not one bit, and the fact that Alder couldn't come makes things that much harder. I don't even know what's happening between the two of us. Just this past week alone he has stayed at my apartment every night since our first date. We haven't really had the exclusive talk yet. He says things like he hasn't felt this way before, or that he feels like he has known me forever, but still, a small part of me is scared that it might be too good to be true. I know that's the insecurities and past experiences talking. I just can't stop them from creeping in. So once I saw that car outside of my parents' house, I felt my stomach drop. I knew it was most likely Mateo's. All he ever drove were Mercedes, and I am annoyed. I told my mom not to invite him. A part of me wanted to just leave and skip out on the whole thing. But maybe this is my chance to put an end to this whole thing, not just with my mom, with Mateo too. The texts still haven't stopped, and I swear I saw this same car parked outside of my apartments 2 days ago. I do plan on bringing that up as well in front of my mother. That way she can realize the crazy she has brought into my life." I glanced over, seeing Rylan holding Matilda's hand, and I couldn't help but smile. Seeing her step out of that car was definitely a huge surprise. Mrs. Martinez was one of our ballet instructors. She worked there for a good 10 years, and one day, she was just gone. All the kids really loved her and felt at home with her. Then there was Tilly, who stood in the back watching. She was such a shy and quiet girl, but also the sweetest. She would help her mom any way she could and waited there patiently, never complaining for a second. I always wondered why she wasn't dancing in the class with us, because I knew she could. I saw it once for myself. It was one evening when I forgot my bag in the classroom and had to run back to get it. I stood in the doorway, hearing the piano music playing that we had just danced to, prompting me to peek through the small crack. There she was, doing every single move flawlessly, even better than our lead had done that day. I asked my mom later on why she wasn't dancing with us, and she said her mother didn't want her to. I guess the company even offered their employees free classes for their kids, but Mrs. Martinez turned it down. I never understood why, but I let it go, thinking they must have had their reasons. Besides, my mom always liked to spread gossip, even if some of the rumors weren't true, so the credibility on that is questionable. If you feel uncomfortable at any point, just tell me, okay? Rylan whispered to Tilly, making me smirk as I saw something in my brother that I hadn't seen before. He was nervous, like sweat on his brow and tripping over his feet type of stuff. Wow, he must really like her. And I can't blame him. Tilly was always a beautiful girl. Even when she was younger, her unique eye color alone was enough to draw you to her. But now, she looked so naturally elegant and beautiful. She was flawless. She even had the body of a dancer. I wondered for a moment if she still danced. Before I could say anything, the front double doors swung wide open, surprising the three of us as my mom stood there in a light blue evening gown as some type of instrumental music began to play. I froze in my tracks, seeing Rylan have the same reaction as me while Mom came striding out with a violinist following behind her. Acting like the Queen of England or something. This has to be a joke. Did I fall and hit my head on the way over here? This can't be real. That's when my dad popped up behind her looking not so pleased as he stared at my mother in disbelief. At least he was on the same page as us. Welcome, I am so happy to have you at our home. Oh, do I know you? My mother suddenly said, cutting herself off as she blinked her eyes at Tilly in confusion. Yes, Mrs. Wilson, I am. Tilly began when the violinist suddenly seemed to hit some type of groove as the music became increasingly louder, making it hard to hear. That's when my mom turned on her heel, waving her hands at the young man dismissively, trying to shoo him away. Okay, yes, you did your job. You can go back inside now. My mother rushed out, dismissing the man, and I had to stifle the laugh that threatened to explode out of me. It was like something out of a movie, I swear. Sorry about that, he is my friend Shelley's son, an aspiring musician and all that. She explained, making my dad do a facepalm as Rylan just stood there frozen with Tilly beside him. Their faces probably mirrored my own. Tilly shared a look with Rylan, almost making him burst into laughter as my dad came swooping in to save the day. Sweetheart, perhaps we can save the theatrics for after dinner. We don't want to scare the poor girl away. Dad began, giving Rylan a sympathetic smile as my mother stepped closer to them. No, I swear I know you from somewhere. You seem so familiar. Mom began, studying Tilly intently. Perhaps you served us at that place we went to last week. What was it called, honey? El Toro. My mom asked Dad, making my jaw drop. Did she seriously just say that? Does she have no clue how rude that was? Actually, Mom, this is Matilda Martinez. Her mother used to teach Jolie at the dance academy she went to as a kid. Rylan said firmly, all that humor we found in this before now gone. It's okay, Rylan. Tilly suddenly said, placing her hand on his arm. Oh, I see, I didn't mean to be rude. My son explained how he met you at the restaurant where you worked and you just seemed so familiar. Mom explained sheepishly. So you thought it was the Mexican restaurant you ate at last week? Rylan snapped, making my dad wince. Yet it did sound pretty bad, but sadly, my mom was always unaware about shit like this. Oh sweetheart, it was just a simple mistake. You know I'm not like that. In fact, our family is very close with the Hernandez family. Perhaps you know them. Welp, that's it, we aren't doing this. Rylan suddenly snapped, making my mom blink rapidly as Dad came over, stepping between them. Caroline, why don't you go in and check on dinner? My dad said sternly, making my mother glance between us in confusion before nodding once. I will just be inside then. She whispered and turned back to the house before walking in. This is ridiculous, Dad, we haven't even walked through the door yet. Rylan said, darting his gaze towards Tilly before frowning. I'm sorry about this, maybe we should just leave. Rylan said once again, making Tilly stare up at him worriedly. I will speak with her. I know it's a lot, son. I apologize for her behavior, Tilly. Their mother doesn't think before speaking sometimes. My dad sighed, seeming embarrassed by Mom's antics, which I am too. And what about the guest she invited? We all know Mateo is here. Has Mom told you what's been going on with that? Rylan asked, making me stiffen. Rylan, it's okay, I will handle that on my own. I said, meaning it fully. I wanted to do this not just to shut Mateo down, but to make it very clear that Mom needs to stop this shit. What happened? What does he mean, sweetheart? Dad asked me worriedly, making me sigh. Mateo has just been bugging me a little. I grumbled, making Rylan scoff. A little? He has been harassing you non-stop texts, and I'm sure a lot more than you are telling me. Rylan grumbled, making Dad stiffen. Is this true, Jolie? Your mother told me the two of you were seeing one another. Dad said, making me laugh. Oh God, this woman is insane. No Daddy, we aren't, and I'm going to make that very clear once and for all. I gritted through my teeth before stepping past my father and marching into the house. This ends tonight. Rylan, I held onto Tilly's hand tightly, afraid she might bolt any minute as we entered the house. Why did I even think to bring her to this shit show? I guess it helps that she knows my family a little, even if she didn't really interact with us too much. She seems to be handling it all pretty well. I can't help but glance down at her every few seconds as we walk through the foyer and into the sitting room. Are you sure you are okay? We don't have to do this. I reminded her for the fourth time, prompting her to look up at me with the most adorable expression. It's fine, Rylan, I promise I'm okay. She reassured me, those full lips tilting into a sweet smile as I felt a calmness wash over me. She has been doing that since we walked in here. Something about her just makes me feel so at ease, it's weird, to say the least. Oh God, here we go. Jolie mumbled beside us as we rounded the corner. Sure enough, there stood our mother whispering to a standing Mateo as she passed him a glass of champagne. There you all are. I wasn't sure if you decided to stay after all. She announced with a laugh, trying to make light of the situation. Oh, don't worry, Mom. I'm sure we won't be for long. Jolie quipped with a grin, making our mother narrow her eyes at her. It's just one meal, Jolie. I'm sure you can humor your poor mother for one evening, can't you? She responded tightly, causing my dad to walk up to her before grabbing her arm gently. Caroline, can we have a word? My dad said, glancing towards Mateo with a stern look as he just smiled in return before taking a sip of his champagne. Arrogant prick, I don't know what shit he has been telling our mom, but she has obviously fallen for it hard. Rylan, please stay with your sister. My father stated while glancing towards Mateo. Of course, Dad. I wouldn't leave her alone with him no matter what. Just as my parents walked out, a man carrying a tray of drinks walked over before offering me and Tilly one. Oh, no thank you. She whispered, causing me to hesitate before grabbing a glass of my own. You don't like champagne? Would you prefer something else instead? Oh, well, I'm only 20 so I can't drink. She whispered to me, making a soft smile pull at my lips as I turned to her. How cute can one person be? I swear she has to be on Gabriella's level of innocence. Well, after all the corrupting Jamie did to that poor sweet girl, I guess Tilly might surpass Gabriella now. If you would like to try one, I won't tell. I responded playfully, making her glance around nervously before nodding her head softly. I hadn't realized she was only 20. I feel old now. I watched as she carefully took a glass as I too grabbed one and dragged my gaze to Jolie. Rylan, who is this lovely lady? I don't think we have met before. Matteo suddenly spoke up before walking over to us and standing beside my sister. That's none of your business, Matteo. Why are you even here actually? I asked rudely while watching Tilly from the corner of my eye, seeing her take a small sip from her glass. It was hard not to feel all that anger dissolve the moment I witnessed her nose scrunching up adorably. She obviously didn't like the taste. I'm here for Jolie. She didn't tell you about us. Matteo responded curiously. Jolie couldn't help but scoff what he said, obviously missing her off. So, you really are that delusional, Matteo? There is no us. Jolie spoke up before taking a step away from Matteo and flashing him one of those bone-chilling glares. I might have been on the receiving end of that a time or two. It's not something you want to happen. My sister is the sweetest until she isn't. But Matteo deserves every bit of this. I would think me ignoring all of your calls and texts would be enough of a clue that I want nothing to do with you, Matteo Hernandez. Besides, I'm seeing someone. She added, making Matteo scoff before clenching his jaw in frustration. I don't see him here, so maybe you are the delusional one. He added smugly. I went to step forward, wanting to put Matteo in his place as Tilly suddenly tightened her grip on my arm. I think your sister can handle this one on her own. She whispered, her eyes darting to a furious-looking Jolie, and I realized maybe she was right. I probably shouldn't insert myself into this fight as much as I want to. Unless she asks me to, of course. You can think whatever you like, Matteo, but it still doesn't change the fact that I want nothing to do with you. I know my mom might be on your side now, but what will she say when she sees all those texts you have been sending? Jolie said quietly, making Matteo's face fall as he glanced towards us before looking back at Jolie. You can't prove that I sent those. He blurted. Jolie let out a loud laugh as she was about to say something else when our mom came gliding into the room. Okay everyone, dinner is ready. She cheered happily before walking up to Tilly, completely unaware of the tension going on right now. Tilly, perhaps you can sit next to me. I apologize for my rude behavior earlier. She said sweetly before looping her arm through Tilly's. I narrowed my eyes at her, feeling like this was not a good idea whatsoever, when I glanced back, seeing Matteo whisper harshly into Jolie's ear. Her eyes widened in response to whatever he said, causing my stomach to drop. Excuse me for a moment, I said to Tilly, walking straight over to my sister as Matteo quickly let her go before composing himself. I will see you at the table, he offered while smiling tightly. My gaze followed him closely as he walked towards the dining room before disappearing down the hall. What did he say? Why do you have that look on your face? I asked hastily, making Jolie ball her hands into a fist. I swear, Rylan, I'm going to kill him. Jolie gritted through her teeth, obviously seething from whatever Matteo just said to her. What? What's going on? It's bad, if he is telling the truth. Jolie trailed off before biting her nails nervously. Just tell me for Christ's sake before I have a stroke. What could make her freak out this badly? He said that he had video footage of Nolan, that if I don't start being nice to him he is going to release it. He got it from the club's She whispered to me, causing my stomach to drop. What kind of footage? I could only imagine. I mean, Nolan was on a warpath of destruction this last time. Him using Re, if that stuff got out it would devastate him. Jolie choked out, making me reach over and wrap my arm around her shoulders. That prick! It's already public knowledge, Jolie, don't let him play you like this. Nolan wouldn't give a shit if he knew what that prick is trying to do. I know for a fact our brother loves Jolie to death and he would do anything to protect her. So even though this isn't going to go over well, there is no way Jolie can let Matteo use this against her. I know, maybe we should warn him? Oh God, I hate him so much, Re. Well, let's put an end to this then, I said before extending my hand out and offering it to Jolie. Wait, where's Tilly? She asked me suddenly, making my eyes widen as I just realized who I let her walk off with. Please don't let my mom do this to me, because from the moment Tilly gets out of that car, and us walking in here, it became real. The fake girlfriend thing wasn't even a thought in my mind, and now I might have just made the biggest mistake of my life leaving her with my mom. I quickly walked through the study, heading towards the dining room as I heard soft laughter drifting towards me. That's when I saw my dad saying something to Tilly, making her smile brightly as relief flooded through me. I walked over hurriedly, my gaze locked onto Tilly's beautiful face as my dad spotted me and stood up straighter. Everything all right? He asked, making me nod. Suddenly my dad caught my attention, his hand rising as he gave me a thumbs up before glancing down at Tilly, making embarrassment flood through me. Seriously? What if she saw him doing that shit? Is everything okay? My mom didn't say anything rude or embarrassing, did she? I asked Tilly as she glanced up at me sweetly. Suddenly she reached out, placing her palm flat against my chest as she shook her head no. Not at all, darling. But I did miss you, she whispered, surprising me as she suddenly stepped closer to me. Did you miss me too? She asked. Her words made me swallow hard as I stared down at her with wide shocked eyes. Did she drink too much champagne or something? Yes, I sputtered, making her smile as she lifted on her toes, bringing her mouth close to my ear. Kiss me, Rylan, your mother is watching, she whispered, and then my heart dropped. Oh, was she just doing all of this to play the part? I peered down at her, my heart starting to race as I slipped my arm around her small waist, making Tilly gasp. I bent down, my lips coming mere inches from hers as I watched her eyelashes flutter, making me hold my breath in anticipation. I pressed my mouth to hers, feeling her soft lips glide across mine as I felt my whole world implode around me. This was it, she was it. I'm a firm believer in soulmates and all things romance, and I knew right at that moment that she was mine. I don't give a shit how crazy I sound, this was it, the moment that my life changes forever, and I can't believe I figured that out in front of my parents, who just so happened to be watching intently. I pulled away, staring down at Tilly as I realized her eyes were still shut, so I took that moment to study her carefully. She had the most adorable nose and her lips. They were plump and delicious, and those cheeks, the way they turned that pretty shade of pink, I was a goner. You look so beautiful right now, I breathed, prompting her eyes to snap open as she stared up at me. Those green-blue orbs sparkled like diamonds as my mother's shrill voice cut through our moment. Rylan, will you please join us? You two can continue this display of affection after dinner, she said firmly. All I could do was nod aimlessly as I realized everyone had already sat down. I placed my hand on Tilly's lower back, guiding her to the table before glancing toward a smirking Jolie. Well, thank you all for joining us, and it's lovely to meet Ryland's little friend. I would also like to thank Matteo for joining. That's when Jolie suddenly stood. Not to interrupt Mom, but yet I'm not doing this shit. There are a few things I want to say actually. Jolie, I glanced between a pale-faced Matteo and a red-faced Mom, both wearing expressions of shock as my mother quickly stood. Jolie, perhaps we shouldn't do this now. Whatever is going on between you and Matteo can be resolved later privately. She warned, her gaze darting to Tilly as I knew she was trying to put on a show for her. That our family was the picture of perfection and I didn't understand why. Tilly has been nothing but sweet, so why did my mom look at her with such disdain? When did Caroline Walters turn into such a stuck-up piece? Privately? Don't you understand that I am afraid to be alone with this man privately? I said, causing my dad to sit up straighter. What are you talking about, Jolie? My father asked, making me sigh as I glanced toward my brother next, knowing he was going to be furious about this. But I haven't been telling the full truth. Those texts I've gotten yet, they are bad. Especially the voicemails he sends when he is drunk or high. I'm not sure which, but he definitely sounds intoxicated. Sir, I think your daughter is just upset because we had a small argument before coming here. Matteo said softly, making my mother nod as I looked at her in disbelief. Are you seriously believing him over me right now? I haven't talked to Matteo in weeks, and when I did, it was to tell him to stop contacting me. We are not dating, mother. I want nothing to do with him. Jolie. Please, calm down. How can that be possible? Matteo has shown me pictures that you have sent him yourself along with the texts. What? I have no idea what you are talking about. I haven't sent a single thing to this psycho. I gritted through my teeth, glaring towards a smug-looking Matteo as he quickly pulled out his phone. I know I upset you this morning, but there is no reason to lie. He spoke in a soft tone, but I saw the mischievous glint in his eyes. Here then, what are these? Matteo said while flashing his screen. On the text thread were dozens of messages sent by what someone would think was me, and even pictures that I had taken. That isn't me. I never sent those. I rushed out, going to reach for his phone, but he quickly pulled it out of reach. Mom, Dad, I swear I never sent a single one of those. He has to be lying. He probably sent those himself with his own phone or something. I saw Matteo's face falter slightly, making me think I hit the nail on the head. It was probably from one of those many phones he has been contacting me with. Plus those pictures were ones from my social media. Anyone could access those. He has been the one texting me non-stop, and the messages. I said, going to reach for my phone as I searched in my purse for it. But it wasn't there. My phone, it's gone. I said quickly, continuing to rifle through my bag as panic filled me. I swear I just had it earlier. Sweetheart, it's okay, couples fight sometimes. My mom chimed in and my jaw dropped. You don't believe me? I asked her, causing Ryland to jump to his feet. This is bullshit. He is obviously lying. I don't know what he is telling you, but he has been harassing Jolie for weeks. Ryland came to defend me. That's when the table went quiet, causing my gaze to drift to my dad's. You believe me, right, Daddy? He has been threatening to come to my apartment to do things to me if I don't agree to be with him. I whispered, feeling all of that confidence come crashing down at Mateo let out a sigh. Sir, you know how dramatic women can be sometimes. It was just a small fight. Before Mateo could even finish, my father stood up and punched him straight in the face, causing my hand to fly over my mouth as I let out a sharp gasp. Edward! My mom screeched before rushing over toward the two men. I want you out of my house and away from my daughter right this moment, and if I ever find out you have been harassing her again, forget about the police, I will handle you myself. Dad hissed, making Mateo wipe his lip before shrugging my mom off of him. You are going to regret this. Your family is trash anyway, and now everyone will know. I warned you, Jolie, and now your whole family will pay for how stubborn you have been. And with that, he threw his napkin down and went to leave. Wait. I think he might have my phone. I rushed out, making my father look towards him as Tilly and Rylan were now by my side. Just let him go, you can always get a new one. I'm guessing you were smart enough to save the texts and voicemails somewhere else. My brother asked, and I nodded my head yes. I just hate that he has it. I quickly rushed over to my dad, looking down at his hand as my mom stood back a little. Jolie, what was he talking about? She whispered, causing me to scoff as I wrapped Dad's hand in a napkin. You seriously are asking her that right now? Aren't you concerned about Dad even a little? Rylan spoke up before I could. Of course I am. I'm a little startled, I can't think straight. My mom said dramatically before plopping in the chair and fanning herself with her hand. And all I wanted to do was finish this and make her realize how much of a mistake she had made trusting that man. He has videos of Nolan using in the club. He threatened to spread them if I didn't do what he asked. I said, causing my dad's eyes to widen before he wrapped his arms around me. Oh sweetheart, why didn't you tell me this was going on? He sighed as my mom sunk into her chair more. I don't know, I didn't think it would go this far, and with mom constantly bringing him around. I trailed off while glaring over at her. I thought I was doing what was best for you, sweetheart. He seemed like such a nice young man, but if those videos get out, oh God. Mom gasped before covering her face with her hands. We will be ruined. We just stood there, looking at my mom as all words escaped me. She didn't care about us, not one bit. Is that all that matters to you? Is your image? A small voice suddenly spoke up, surprising not just me but everyone else as well. What did you say? Mom whispered, looking towards Tilly now. I watched as Tilly reached over, gripping Rylan's hand as she glanced between all of us. I used to admire your family, watching how close you all were and how much you cared for one another, but seeing you now, you have lost your way. She explained. But now you care more about how people will see you than how your own children feel. Tilly continued, causing Rylan to stare down at her in absolute shock. You have no idea what you are talking about, young lady. My family is everything to me, and we keep nothing from one another, unlike yours. If you want to start judging people, maybe you should look within your own home first. Mom snapped viciously, making me gasp. Caroline. That is enough. Apologize right this minute. She is only saying what we all are feeling, and this has been going on for far too long. My dad boomed, making everyone go quiet as my mom blinked her eyes rapidly, seeming to realize the things she had just said. I apologize, I didn't mean to speak out of turn," she whispered, making my brow furrow as I glanced between Tilly and my mother. What was she even talking about exactly? "Come on, let's go," Rylan stated softly, gripping Tilly by the waist as she nodded her head before looking down at the floor, seeming to be embarrassed. "Rylan, you can't just leave. Not now." Our mother rushed out. "He isn't the only one leaving. You will have this big house all to yourself to think about your actions," my father declared before wrapping his arm around my back and guiding me towards the front door. "Edward. Please. We can talk about this. Right, Jolie?" She rushed out, causing me to pause before I turned my head, peering back at her. "No, Mom, you made this mess, now you will have to live with the consequences." "Tilly," I stared out the window aimlessly, my head filled with confusion as I tried to rack my brain about what Caroline Walters could have been speaking about. "Well, honestly, that dinner went a lot better than I expected." Rylan suddenly spoke up, making my head turn towards him as I saw his sheepish grin. I couldn't help but smile in return as I tried to push what Caroline said out of my mind. Maybe she was just upset and didn't know what she was talking about. "At least your ex didn't pop out of nowhere this time," I joked, trying to lighten the mood as Rylan burst into laughter. "Who knows, she could still be waiting in the closet, wondering what's taking so long," he added as I felt the tension slowly disappearing. That's when Rylan took his hand off the steering wheel and rubbed the back of his neck. It was hard not to stare at his muscular bicep as he did. Even through his dinner jacket it was noticeable. "Sorry about all of that, my mom. Well, she is tough to deal with and this kinda has been a long time coming," he mumbled, making me nod in understanding. "It's okay, Rylan, I know you didn't expect any of that to happen. Do you think your sister will be okay?" I asked, feeling bad for Jolie and all that she had to go through. "Especially with that Matteo. I have heard about him. He is a regular at the restaurant I work at, mostly in the bar space, so I never ran into him. But I've heard enough about how he hits on the waitresses and stuff. So that was a pretty big clue on the type of guy he is." "Oh yeah, not much can take Jolie down. You know she used to beat up my bullies for me in grade school." "She did?" I asked, feeling surprised. "Yeah, one summer before school started I got a black eye from getting hit by a baseball. My whole side of the face was black and blue. Kids made fun of me for weeks until Jolie punched one of them in the face, giving them a black eye of their own," he explained, making me smile as I couldn't help but admire their relationship. "They seem so close. I almost wish my sister and I were like that too. Some days it feels like I'm an only child considering she has her own life. Of course she got in huge trouble and almost suspended, but still, no one messed with me again after that," he said proudly. "Well, she is lucky to have a brother like you too," I said, seeing Rylan glance towards me a few times before the car suddenly swerved to the side of the road, making my eyes widen. "Rylan, what's wrong?" I asked worriedly, looking around outside as I wondered if we got a flat tire or something. "Listen, I know this seems kind of crazy. I mean, this whole thing has been from the start, but spending this time with you, Tilly, it's been incredible. And from the moment we left my parents' house, I've been trying to build up the courage to say this." He rushed out, leaving me sitting there staring at him in shock. What is he about to say? I like you Tilly and it would kill me if I didn't shoot my shot and take this chance. Of course you probably don't feel the same considering I practically begged you to do this with me and now you probably think I'm some psycho with a crazy family. He rambled as my eyes widened in shock. What did he just say? That he likes me? I felt my heart pounding in my chest, the sound making Ryland's words jumble together as he suddenly stopped speaking and looked at me worriedly. Tilly. He whispered my name, causing my eyes to lock onto his as I let out a shuddering breath. This was really happening. All those years of crushing on this guy and thinking he would never notice me have come to this. Even when I hadn't seen him for years, he still filled my mind at the weirdest times, and now we are sitting in his car and he is staring at me waiting for me to say something, anything. I opened my mouth, feeling like this had to be some type of dream when I finally gathered the courage to speak. I like you too. I whispered, feeling like my chest might just explode because of how nervous I felt right now. I never in a million years thought I would be brave enough to say those words. You do? He asked me, sounding completely surprised. I just nodded my head yes, unsure if I could say it again as Ryland stared at me for a few seconds, letting it sink in. Then without warning, he reached forward, his hands gripping the sides of my face as he hastily pressed his lips to mine, kissing me deeply. I let out a gasp, my eyes fluttering shut as this kiss was even more intense than the first. I had no idea what I was doing, but the feel of his mouth gliding across mine caused my body to react all on its own. I lifted my hands, gripping the sides of his jacket as Ryland's hands held my head firmly in place. I felt his tongue swipe across my bottom lip, causing butterflies to rush through my tummy as they settled deep down into my core. Ryland tilted my head back even more, my lips parting in response as his tongue delved inside of me. The taste of him was sweet and delicious, making a soft moan escape me as I pressed my chest against him, feeling completely swept away. That's when things got even more intense. Ryland dragged his mouth down, finding his way to my neck as he kissed and sucked on my skin. You are so beautiful, he grumbled, his words soaking into my flesh as I kept my eyes shut, afraid that if I opened them none of this would be real. From the moment I saw you I just knew this was meant to be, Tilly, he confessed, making my head spin as his hands trailed down, wrapping around my waist before pulling me flush against him. Tell me you feel it too, that you felt the same thing I did, he groaned, making me nod yes. I've always felt that way ever since I was 8 years old, I whispered, freezing the moment those words escaped me. I wasn't supposed to say that. I felt Ryland pause, his body pulling away from me as I kept my eyes shut. Did I freak him out? Tilly, what did you just say? Ryland asked, making me swallow hard as I bit my bottom lip, anxiously trying to think of what to say next. Nothing, I sputtered, going to turn away as I opened my eyes finally. No. Please say it again. Ryland rushed, his hand cupping my chin as he turned my head back to face him. But it's embarrassing, I whispered, making him smile softly before he shook his head. No. Please tell me. I need to make sure I heard you right, he pleaded, the sweet look in his green eyes causing my heart to skip a beat. I've liked you for a long time, Ryland, since I first saw you at the dance academy. Might as well put it all out there since I said all of that anyway. Without warning, Ryland kissed me again and again, his mouth feathering kisses from one corner of my mouth to the next. I knew you were my dream girl, I knew it. He grumbled, making me giggle as he continued to kiss down my neck. That's when I heard my phone ring, making me stiffen. Rylan, I better get that. I breathed, feeling him nod as he continued kissing my throat. Go ahead, I will keep doing what I'm doing. He sighed, causing me to let out a breathy laugh as I reached for my phone, seeing it was my mom calling. Crap. Rylan, just stop for one moment. I rushed out, making him pause for a second. Then I took a deep steadying breath and answered. Hi mama, is everything okay? I spoke calmly, trying to sound like I wasn't just making out with a man in his car. Mija, where have you been? I called the restaurant and they said you aren't working tonight. My mom rushed out as I glanced towards Rylan, who was just staring up at me like an adorable puppy. I went to dinner with a friend. I lied, making Rylan frown, causing me to glance away guiltily. I just wasn't ready to say anything yet. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Friend? What friend, Matilda? She asked firmly. Just someone I ran into. Who, Mija? Yes, she was mad. You remember Jolie Walters? I saw her at the restaurant and she wanted to get together. Not exactly a lie, just the wrong Walters kid. Jolie? My mom asked, sounding surprised. Where are you now? She rushed out, making me glance around. On my way home. I will be there in about 15 minutes. Okay, just come right home, and next time, you need to tell me, Tilly. And with that, she hung up. I lowered the phone, my eyes staring down into my lap as I was in shock for not mentioning Rylan. So that was your mom, huh? He asked, making me nod as he slowly gripped my chin, tilting my head back until our gazes finally met. I'm sorry, she is really strict and I never really do this, so I'm not sure how she would take it. I rushed out, seeing his gaze soften. Do what? He asked while stroking my chin with his thumb. Date, I mean, this is pretty much my first time ever. I grumbled, knowing my cheeks had to be bright red by now. Can you get any more adorable? Rylan asked, bending forward and kissing my lips gently. So I just don't want her to go crazy. My mom is very traditional, like no ex before marriage type of traditional. I added, looking away as he suddenly wrapped his arms around me in a hug. I understand. You do? I gasped, feeling surprised. Yeah, so I guess I better meet her. He added softly. Wait, meet her? Why? So she knows who her future son-in-law is going to be. Tilly, Rylan, I have to go. It's already been 10 minutes since my mom called again. I gasped, feeling Rylan's mouth practically glued to my neck. Fine, but call me as soon as you go to bed, okay? He stated firmly, making me nod as Rylan finally pulled away from me, giving me one of the most breathtaking smiles I had ever seen. You might want to put your hair down though so your mom doesn't see, he said, causing my brow to furrow. See what? I asked before pulling down the visor and going to open the mirror. That's when my eyes practically popped out of my head. I lifted my chin, seeing dozens of little red marks all down the side of my neck as I couldn't help but gasp. Is that what you were doing the whole time? I asked, making him smile at me sheepishly as I started to panic. My mom is going to kill me. Hey, don't worry, I made sure to keep them on the sides. he explained while reaching up to help me let my hair down. I feel like such stupid. I obviously knew what hickeys were, but I thought it hurt more to get them, and what Rylan was doing didn't hurt. It felt like small wet kisses all over me. There, now you can't even tell, he said, trying to act like it was no big deal. Oh, my mom would tell. She had a knack for sniffing out this type of stuff. I bet she will know something is up the moment I walk in there. Maybe we can go back to your place instead. I rushed out, causing Rylan to freeze. My place? Yeah, there is no way we are doing that. He laughed, making me frown as he suddenly seemed to realize how badly that sounded. That's when he lifted his hand, placing it on the side of my neck gently. Tilly, not because I don't want you to, just because I know if you did it would be hard to resist you. Besides, you are just trying to avoid seeing your mom. He added the last part quickly, causing a loud sigh to leave me. Fine, but if you don't hear from me for a few days, it's probably because my mom killed me, I said before going to reach for the door handle as Rylan suddenly gripped my arm, stopping me. Wait, give me one more kiss please. I looked at the big puppy named Rylan that appeared before me, his big green eyes pleading me as I couldn't help but give in. I leaned over, pressing my lips to his as he held onto me for a few more seconds before finally letting go. And I knew I had to leave now or I would never get out of here. I quickly jumped out and closed the door, my cheeks burning red as I bit my lip and waved goodbye to Rylan one last time before turning and walking towards the apartment complex. That's when I suddenly heard him shouting something at me. Tilly Martinez! Tonight has been the best night of my life. He suddenly hollered, causing my stomach to flip as embarrassment rushed through me. There were a couple of pedestrians laughing as they passed by and I quickly made my way into the building. The moment I entered the doors, I couldn't help but place my back against the wall and shut my eyes. My heart felt like it could burst out of my chest as I tried to calm my breathing. Tonight has been the best night of my life too, or so I had thought. I still have one obstacle to get through. I slid my key into the lock, my hand trembling slightly as I quickly reached up and smoothed my hair out. That's when I pushed the door open and crept inside. It was 10:30 at night, so my mom and dad were usually in bed watching TV by now. Well, my dad liked to listen to those books on tape while mom watched her telenovelas. But considering it was her day off, that's where I expected her to be, so you can imagine how startled I was when the lamp suddenly switched on, making me scream. Mama, you scared me. I rushed out with my hand placed over my chest, feeling like I was about to have a heart attack. Mija, what took you so long? You said you would be home 20 minutes ago, she said firmly before standing and walking towards me. For such a petite woman, she definitely had the intimidation factor down. Where's Papa? Is he already sleeping? I asked, glancing around for my dad. Don't change the subject, Tilly. Who were you with, just that jolie girl? She asked, making me swallow hard as I went to take off my shoes. Big mistake, because apparently my mom didn't realize what I was wearing. She was too busy glaring at me to notice. Well, now she did. What are you wearing, Mija? Where did you get this from? Mom gasped, stepping closer to me as she reached out, gripping my wrist. I found it in Shayna's closet, I confessed sheepishly. That's when my mom opened her mouth to speak but suddenly froze, her eyes settling on my neck as she quickly reached up, pulling my hair to the side. ¿Qué es esto? What's this? She asked in Spanish, letting me know she was absolutely annoyed. Mama, it's nothing. I rushed out, seeing her shoot me an incredulous look, and I knew it was over. I couldn't lie to her. Okay, fine. I went on a date, Mama, with Rylan Walters. I confessed, knowing I was about to get an earful. Ay Dios mío, what were you thinking, Tilly? You went out with a boy and let him do this to you. Did you also sleep with him? Did you use protection? She rushed out, causing my eyes to widen as I shook my head no. Of course not, Mama. I wouldn't just sleep with him on the first date. I can't believe you would lie to me. I thought you were better than that, a boy. She tsked, and that's when she started to mutter dozens of curse words in Spanish as I let out a frustrated groan. I am 20 years old, Mama. I don't get it. You never had these types of rules for Shayna. Why can't I even go out on one date? I asked, feeling frustrated now as my mom paused for a moment. Because you are different than Shayna, she said firmly, causing my brow to furrow as those words Mrs. Walters said came back to me, and I had to ask. I needed to know if my mother was hiding something from me. Mama, is there something you're not telling me? I asked, watching my mother stiffen as she quickly turned away from me and started to walk towards the kitchen. I don't know what you are talking about, Mija. Well, Mrs. Walters said something. Mrs. Walters? What did she say? You know you can't trust a single thing that woman says. She is a gossip, and that's why I don't want you involved with that family. This Rylan boy too. She rushed out, leaving me standing there as I looked at her in confusion. Mama, what aren't you telling me? I whispered, feeling deep down something was seriously weird now. My mom never acts like this. Tilly, this is nothing to concern yourself about. Paula, I think it's time to tell her. My dad suddenly spoke up, surprising me as I saw him now standing in the hallway. I rushed over, looping my hand around his arm as I quickly guided him towards the table. Papa, what are you doing up? Did we wake you? I asked, making him shake his head no as he patted my hand gently. No, Carino, you did not wake me, but it's time you knew the truth, Tilly. Joaquin, please. My mom rushed out as tears suddenly filled her eyes. What is going on? What are you talking about? I asked worriedly, causing my father to let out a long sigh before reaching for my hand as I gently took it. Mija, there is something we need to tell you, he stated, making my eyes glance towards my mom as she quickly spun around, unable to look at me. What could this be about? Mi amor, we have been keeping a secret from you, something that we thought would be the best thing to do at the time. Something that might hurt you. Papa began, causing me to swallow hard as my head started to become dizzy. What secret? I felt like my world was starting to unravel. The possibilities of what he could say made me feel more anxious than I ever have in my life, but the words he spoke next were the last ones I would ever expect to hear. Your mother and I, we aren't your real parents, Tilly, we are actually your grandparents. Gabriella, I rolled over in bed before sliding my hand out, searching for Jamie as I was met with nothing but cold sheets. That's when my head popped up and I began peering around. Baby! I called out, feeling anxious as I quickly slipped out of bed and began looking for my husband. I know this is hard on him. What Eva said has shaken him up more than I have ever seen, and I don't know how to make this all better. All we can do is get a DNA test to prove that the child isn't Jamie's, but who knows when or if Eva will even agree to do that. She is so infuriating and I have lived with infuriating women for most of my life, but Eva, she takes the cake. I walked down the hallway, trying to find any sign of my husband as I placed my hand on my small bump. No matter what happens, I know for a fact that Jamie and I will make it through this. There is no way that I will let this break us. If this little boy is Jamie's, then we will have to put the child first and do what's best for him. I would know more than anyone how important it will be to make him feel loved and welcome because it's something I never had. I crept down the hallway, my bare feet padding quietly on the floor as I suddenly heard the sounds of ice clinking in a glass. I came towards the living room, my eyes searching the dark space quickly as I finally found Jamie. He was sitting on the couch in the dark, his face illuminated by the fire that was lit across from him as he slowly drank from a crystal glass. I stood there for a few moments, just studying Jamie as I could see this angry look filling his eyes. The sight of him made my heart ache as I felt my feet moving on their own. I rounded the couch, coming in front of him as his head hung in defeat. Without thinking twice, I lowered to my knees, my hand reaching out as I grabbed the glass from him as he looked up in surprise. I didn't wake you, did I?" he slurred, making me realize this probably wasn't his first drink. I shook my head no before placing the drink on the coffee table beside me and turning back towards Jamie. "Are you okay?" I asked while lifting my hands and placing them on his cheeks softly, feeling the stubble beneath them. "I don't think I am. If this child, if he is mine," he choked out, his eyes fluttering closed as he let out a shuddering breath. "Jamie, if he is yours, then we will do whatever we can to get him away from that woman," I said firmly, seeing Jamie's brow furrow as he stared at me in surprise. "But what about our babies?" he asked, his eyes gliding down to my stomach as he stared at me sadly. "I guess our family will grow a lot faster than we expected," I breathed, my words making Jamie shake his head softly. "I don't know what I did to deserve someone like you," he added, making me rise to my feet as I stepped between Jamie's legs, letting his arms wrap around my waist as he held me tightly, his cheek pressing against my stomach. "I'm the lucky one here, look how much you have given me. And if this boy is yours then I will grow to love him just as much as our own." I breathed, meaning every word because I knew deep down that I would no matter what. "Oh Gabriella!" Jamie breathed, his head rising as he hastily crashed his lips to mine. His arms snaked around my body as he held onto me tightly. The desperation in his touch reached straight to my soul as I knew he needed me more than he ever had right at this moment. "Make love to me," I mumbled against his lips, tasting the alcohol on his breath as he gasped beneath me. "You are my everything, Gabriella, please please never leave me, I couldn't bear it, I couldn't live a moment without you in it," he rushed out desperately. "Never, I would never leave you," I gasped, my fingers burying into his hair. "We will figure this out together, I promise," I whispered, seeing his head nod up and down before he eventually fell asleep. I sat there on the couch, looking down at my husband as he held onto me tightly. That's when I really started to think about this, how I didn't want Eva to be the one in control. We needed to gain the upper hand somehow, and I knew just who to call who could help me with it. I sneakily slipped out from Jamie's grasp, putting a pillow in my place as he frowned before snuggling into it. I couldn't help but watch him for a few more seconds before walking back to our room and grabbing my phone. I clicked on my brother's number and hit call before placing the phone against my ear. It only rang one time before my brother answered. "Gabby, what's wrong? Is everything okay?" He rushed out sleepily, making me realize I probably should have waited until morning for this. "Grant, I need your help with something," I whispered, wanting to do anything I could to help my husband. I proceeded to tell Grant everything that happened as he listened patiently until I was done. "Okay, don't worry about a thing, Gabby, I will take care of it. Just make sure the boy is safe, please. I have a bad feeling about this," I confessed, afraid of what Eva might be capable of to manipulate Jamie. "Oh, don't worry, I will. She is going to regret the day she decided with you. That much I can promise." "Grant," I took a long drag of the cigarette I held between my fingers, my back leaning against the concrete wall behind me as I watched the apartment complex across the road carefully. "Okay, I know I'm not usually a smoker. I gave it up after my dad died. It was a habit I used to do when I was associated in our old family business, and tonight it felt like one of those nights. I haven't done a stakeout in years, but this one seemed even more important than any others I've had in the past. Once Gabriella caught me up on everything, I knew exactly what I needed to do. So I made a few calls and now here I am, waiting for this psychotic piece to leave the house. It's been 2 days since Gabriella called that night and my guys were able to get a pretty good grasp on Eva Monroe's schedule. She leaves every day at 7 p.m. and camps out a few buildings away from Jamie and Gabriella's apartment complex, just like I am doing to hers. Who knows how long the Piche has been watching them like this? Now I have my people keeping a close watch on her at all times, so if she were to try anything, we would catch it. There has been no sign of a kid whatsoever. All we have on record is the birth certificate which her ex-husband signed as the father and the ticket she purchased for him to come to the US. Other than that, he hasn't gone to any schools or hospitals, so there are no other records to show he exists. My guys talked with the apartment manager and she says she hasn't seen a kid either, but this is the type of place where they don't ask too many questions and mind their own business. I watched Eva walk out of doors with a big smile on her face as she quickly hopped into a car waiting out front for her. That's when I made my move. I threw my cigarette on the ground, stepping on it quickly before pushing off the wall and striding over to the building casually. Lucky for me, someone opened the door just as I was walking up and was able to slip through. Then I opted to take the stairs and climbed up to the 3rd floor. I needed to handle this carefully. First things first, I wanted to make sure there was even a child to begin with. And honestly, Gabriella was right. If there is a child in that apartment, who knows what type of shit that woman could be putting him through. I exited the stairwell and walked out into the hallway, seeing a few apartment doors coming up as I quickly found the one I needed to be it. I glanced around, making sure no one was coming as I knocked on the door and straightened my back. I wasn't sure who might answer, if anyone, and that's when I heard something behind the door. "Maria? Is that you?" A small voice called out, making me stiffen. Then I thought about what I could do to get him to open the door for me without the kid out. "Hey, I'm actually a friend of your mom. She just told me to stop by and check on you. Maria couldn't make it tonight." Wow, I felt like a creep for saying that. A part of me hoped the kid just told me to out, because if he is this naive, that worries me. I looked around once again, hoping this Maria chick wasn't on the way now when I suddenly heard the door unlock, making my heart drop. I glanced down, seeing a small boy with brown hair and fair skin looking down at his shoes shyly. He had to be only 4 or 5, I swear. Why was this kid here alone? Are you my daddy? What? I blinked my eyes rapidly, looking at this kid as his big blue-gray eyes glanced up, meeting mine. I could see some type of hope lighting up inside of them as I cleared my throat and took a step forward. No, I'm not your dad. But why don't I come in and you can tell me what you know about him? I said, making the little boy nod enthusiastically before stepping back and letting me in. Okay, I just need to get the hair sample and then I can get out of here and Jamie can do the test. All I have to do is pluck a couple of hairs out, should be easy. I glanced towards the boy's light brown hair as he walked towards the kitchen. Would you like something to drink? The little boy asked, surprising me. I'm good, I said, seeing the kid shrug before going to the dishwasher and opening it up. He quickly grabbed a glass and went to open the fridge. That's when I felt my jaw clench. All had in there was wine and condiments. I watched as the kid reached for a pitcher of filtered water and went to pour himself a glass. I haven't seen you around before. Are you one of my mom Eva's boyfriends? He asked, making me burst into laughter as the mere notion made me fill with humor. No, we just know each other from mutual friends. What's your name, by the way? I asked coolly, trying not to make any of this weird for the kid. My name is Sammy. He responded smoothly. I was pretty surprised at how well spoken the boy was. He seemed so young. But then again, I don't really hang around kids much, so how should I know? He quickly put the water back into the fridge before walking over to the table and sat down. Does your mom leave you alone often? I asked, making him shrug while taking a sip. What about this Maria girl? Who is she? The neighbor, he said, and then I saw his big eyes lock onto mine. You're not my mom's friend, are you? He asked me, making me freeze as I tried to think of what to say next. No, I'm not, I confessed, seeing the little boy nod once before playing with the glass in front of him. Are you a police officer? He asked again, making me fight a smile. He couldn't be more wrong. No. Are you a bad man? Do I seem like a bad man? I said curiously, wanting to know what he thinks. He doesn't seem scared. That was kind of surprising. No. Do you know who my daddy is? Oh God, this poor kid. I'm sorry I don't, but I do want to help you find out who he is. You do? He rushed out as excitement lit up his face. Yep, all I need is a little bit of your hair. My hair? He asked while scrunching up his face adorably, making me smile. But Eva won't be happy you are here. He whispered. Why do you call your mom Eva? Does she ask you to do that? It was weird, like the few times he almost called her mom and let it slip. He seemed scared about the mistake. She doesn't really like kids. She said that once I see daddy though and convince him to stay with us, that she will though. Then she won't have to get rid of me. He said, making my stomach turn. I examined Sammy a little more carefully. The clothes he was wearing seemed to have holes in it and had to be 2 sizes too small, and the bruises on his arms. That shit didn't sit well with me. I knew the signs of abuse when I saw it, I lived with that shit and the fact that Eva makes him stay here alone and he has to call her by her first name. She is no mother and that annoyed me off. So maybe what I did next wasn't exactly the smartest idea, in fact it was pretty stupid, but I wasn't going to let this kid stay here alone, especially with no food in the fridge and that sad look in his eyes. Hey, how about we go get some ice cream? I said, making the kid look taken aback. Really? We can go outside. He rushed out and I went to stand. Even better than that. You are going to stay with me for a little, Sammy, then we can find out all about your dad, okay? Would you like that? I asked, making him sit there for a few seconds before he suddenly jumped up from his seat and ran off, surprising me. Maybe I scared him off. Before I could go after him, he ran right back to me carrying a small blue blanket and pillow in his hands as he stared up at me excitedly. Okay, I'm ready to go. Yeah, Grayson might just have a heart attack when he hears about this one, but there is no way I'm leaving the kid in that witch's hands. Besides, I have a feeling she won't report him missing considering the state she has left the poor kid in. Great, so, do you like chocolate or strawberry? Eva, I let out a frustrated groan, my fingers punching in the apartment code as I quickly yanked the door open before stomping inside. She thinks she can just hang all over Jamie like that, acting like nothing is wrong. I muttered to myself, my annoyance officially boiling over as the events from tonight kept playing through my mind. Ever since I dropped the bomb that I could possibly have given birth to Jamie's son, they hadn't left the house once until tonight. At first, I thought maybe Gabriella would push Jamie away, not able to handle the whole other kid thing, but of course the bitch has to be stubborn. So when I watched them walk out of that building holding hands and smiling, I just about lost it. How could he be smiling right now when his whole world was about to change forever? The way I see it, I should be owed a hefty amount for child support, and if he doesn't decide to leave that slut, then I will take him to court and make his life miserable. He will most likely fight for full custody, especially with his wife's background. I bet that's why she is acting like a martyr right now. Because she was the product of an affair herself, so I really should have expected this shit. There is no way she will want to leave all of that money, especially with the twins on the way. Which I luckily found out about from an old friend who works at the hospital. It's good to have connections around here. I hate seeing the way Jamie acts with her though, how he is so doting and constantly has his hands on her body. That was supposed to be me. What makes her so special? I have a better body and guarantee I know how to satisfy him better than anyone. I followed them all the way to a fancy restaurant where they met up with Jamie's parents. That's when I decided to just call it a night. I couldn't see any more of that shit. So instead I went to the bar down the street and got drunk. I needed to let loose for what's about to happen next. Tomorrow is a big day and I need Sammy to be on his best behavior. I swear if he ends up not being Jamie's child, I'm going to just give the kid away. Or maybe he could have some type of accident, that way it won't look bad on my part. Now, if I was a mother who lost a child, that could open up a lot of possibilities for me. I stepped into the elevator before pushing the third floor button. I was trying to think of all the different outcomes tomorrow could bring when I stumbled to my apartment door before unlocking it. That's when I paused for a second, realizing all the lights were off as I blinked my eyes rapidly. Wow, maybe the kid actually learned something for once. Sammy, where are you? Come here, you little shit. I slurred before laughing to myself. That's when I started taking off my shoes, almost falling in the process as I began going through the house, looking for the kid. "Are you seriously hiding from me?" I scoffed, feeling annoyed, and went over to the kitchen. I opened the fridge, grabbing a half-empty bottle of wine before popping the cork and taking a long sip. "Tomorrow when you show up to your precious daddy's work, you better not forget what you have to say. And make sure you tell them how much you love me and all that shit," I mumbled, waving my hand in the air before plopping down on the couch. "Sammy," I called once more, hiccuping loudly before placing the wine bottle on the coffee table. I walked down the hall and into my room, heading toward the walk-in closet where he slept. I peeked inside, seeing he wasn't in there, and wondered where he could be. I stumbled back, feeling my knees hit the mattress of my bed before I went tumbling back. That's when the room started to spin and I knew I was about to be sick. "Sammy, bring me some water," I groaned, my stomach churning as I quickly hopped up and ran to the bathroom, throwing up immediately. "I'm going to kill that ungrateful. When I find him he is going to wish he listened the first time." I laid my cheek on the toilet, too tired to get up as my vision started to blur, and that was the last thing I remembered. "Miss Monroe? Are you in there?" A loud voice called out, making me wince as I took a gasping breath, wondering where I was. I slowly peeked around, my eyes settling on my puke-stained dress as I let out a groan. "Nasty." I slowly got to my feet, hearing more knocking as every sound echoed through my skull with the worst headache ever pulsing through me. "Sammy, answer the door," I called out, frustrated that this kid wasn't listening to me. "Miss Monroe, it's Maria. Coming, just hold on," I said while stripping off my dress and pulling on a large shirt instead. I glanced around, looking for any sign of Sammy as I went to the door and swung it open. "What? What's going on?" I grumbled, seeing the old woman from next door looking behind me anxiously. Is everything okay, miss?" Sammy didn't answer the door. "He didn't last night either," the woman said, making my brow furrow. "What do you mean? I thought you said you could watch him last night." "Well, I was going to, but when I knocked on the door, no one answered. I figured you took him out with you or something," she explained, causing my body to stiffen. "No. I never take him out, Sammy," I yelled out, starting to go through the apartment as I felt my chest tightening. "That brat better have not run away, I swear to God. Sammy, get out here right now. I'm not playing," I screamed, only being met with silence as Maria looked at me with worry. If she thinks Sammy is missing, she might call the police or something, and once they start doing some investigating I could get into some real trouble. I'm sure he is in here somewhere. Thanks for your concern. I won't need you watching him anymore. Here, you can keep this for missing out on last night," I said, grabbing $100 from my purse before shoving it in her hands. "But Miss. Where is he?" Maria asked once again, making my expression harden. "That's none of your concern now. Please get out of my house," I said coldly, making the older woman nod before turning and going to leave. I saw her hesitate, her head turning back as she stepped outside, and I quickly slammed the door in her face before locking it. That's when I started to panic. If Sammy ran away, this could be bad news for me. And if Jamie tries to reach out and visit him, what am I going to do? I will just have to fake that I'm not ready for them to meet yet, that it would be too confusing for my son until we get the test results. I yelled before throwing my hands up in the air and pulling at my hair anxiously. That little shit just had to go and ruin everything. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.